Appearance on Dion's Daily Dose does not imply endorsement from or by any candidate or guest. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by Dion Bergeron or Dion's Daily Dose are his own and do not represent the views, thoughts, and opinions of any guest. Material and information presented is for general information purposes only. The Dion's Daily Dose name in all forms and abbreviations are the property of its owners, and its use does not imply endorsement of or opposition to any specific organization, product, or service. If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose.
All right. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully everything is set up right. It's been a minute, right? Since I've been online doing the videos, and there's been a lot of stuff that's happened since then. I'll bring you guys quick up to speed. So I went to the Great Reawakening Tour, and it was in Nashville. I actually don't remember what the date was on that, but I went down there and I was going to do a live stream from there, right? And I couldn't figure out how to set there we go. Okay, we're good. My monitor's turned off for a second. I thought yeah, anyway, we're good. So I went down there and I was going to set up for live stream. We actually I got a couple of pictures, but in general, it did not go like I was hoping that it would. As you guys can see, I'm using a different camera now, and I think it's better. I got this over here as a backdrop because I hate like the edge of the door there, the way you can see it. I'm still working on it, by the way. We're gonna make it better as time goes on. A couple of little adjustments still to do, but I think this camera, higher quality. I initially bought it for someone else, and they ended up not using it. So I'm like, well, I will use it then. I have no problem with that. I'm trying to get some stuff up here for you guys. But so we went down to Tennessee. I'm trying to get my Rumble stream going. For some reason on StreamYard, which is the program that I use to stream, I can't see the comments that people put, right? Which is one of the reasons why I haven't transitioned completely over to Rumble. I like it. I love the lack of censorship, etc. But the level of integration still isn't there, such as Facebook, Twitter, etc. Well, X. But as you guys may or may not know, we have a municipal election coming up here in just a couple of days. Actually is the actual election day. Now, obviously, people could have voted early if they so chose, up to 30 days early, and there's vote centers and the early voting and etc. So who's on the ballot? Well, I have, just a moment, I'm going to share what I got here for you. Yeah, Tuesday is the election. Let's see here. There it is. Okay, so yeah, we're going to do that. Allow. Look at that. Okay, so I went to Vote 411, which, as you may or may not know, is a actually very good resource for finding out who's on your ballot, et cetera, et cetera. So if you go to vote411.org and you put in your address, it's pretty easy to bring up the entirety of your ballot and who's on it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we have the Common Council at large here. Now this is for Michigan City, and I am a little bit biased, but I'll show you guys my favorite. This right here is, I believe, the best candidate for office anywhere ever is my wife, right? Liz is running for Michigan City Council at large, and I'm not going to break her platform down or any of that stuff for you, but obviously she's the best. But seriously, though, go read what she said and compare. I do not know everyone up here personally. I have met them all at various functions, but it's not like I've hung out with them or anything. There are lots of things going on with various candidates, and I'm going to show my comments here. As you can see, hi. And Mary, good to see you. I am good. I'm going to jump into this election thing. So, because I think this is the most important information. And once we kind of wrap that up, I'll tell you guys what happened at the Great Reawakening Tour. But there are 3 positions open for at-large. That means when you go in to vote, it's going to be, the general ballot, and it's going to be mixed, which means you'll have Republicans and Democrats. Now, something that's really important that people should know is even if you traditionally vote all one party, right? Even if you check I want to vote for every Democrat, positions like this, you actually have to go in and select individual, right? So even if you, for example, you were to say, I want to vote for all Republicans up and down the ballot, this position, you would have to go in and do it manually. Why? Because there are multiple positions. I don't know, because that's the way it is. I don't know. Ask the legislators. So just keep that in mind. It's really important to select your local representatives. Obviously, Liz is the best. She's the only real choice. Look, there are other people running. If you select the three Republicans, Liz, Jason Stratton, and Osborne, there you go. If you want to mix and match, there you go. We're actually I'm going to cover a little bit about Liz and why I think she's the best, other than the fact that she's my wife. She has extensive experience in a wealth of fields that I think would really go far, right? In the city council. For example, her and I both worked at Indiana State Prison. That's where we met. So they're supposed to close the prison and move people to Westville. They're building a massive facility over there, brand new. No one else has the knowledge that she does about the prison, how it runs, how to move all these inmates, the actual dangers that are there, even if, and that's important too. Thank you. She said, you don't have to pick 3. You can pick just one if you just want to pick one and move on, 2, whatever, but you can't pick more than 3. So at Indiana State Prison, there are tunnels that run under it that go actually kind of halfway through the city. They go all the way downtown. As a matter of fact, when they had the escape, I don't remember what year it was, but they had the guys that got out of ISP, broke out, and they used the tunnels. They came up, and I think they went to the casino. I think I read that. But anyway, they caught them. But those tunnels are just a small part of the things that people who don't work at ISP don't know. There's obviously, it's been around. And I think this is important. I'm gonna actually bring this up. I hit my microphone, which is why I said whoops. You can't even see it. This camera is super zoomed in compared to the old one that I was using. But I want to find out exactly what year it was built. It was like Civil War was the initial intention, but let's see here. So, yeah, okay. So the first Indiana State Prison was built in Jeffersonville in 1822. In 1858, the state was looking for a second location to build another prison, and they bought the land here in MC. Both the ones were named Indiana State Prison, one designated Prison North and the other Prison South. In 1922, Prison South was destroyed by a fire, and the Michigan City location became the oldest facility in the system. The first perimeter wall enclosed 8.3 acres, eventually enlarged to 24 acres. There were 10 towers on the walls, and still are, and they are maintained all day, every day, except one of them is Actually, there are more than that. But the facility has a capacity of more than 2,400 incarcerated individuals, et cetera, et cetera. So these are a quick overview, right? These are, anybody can look that up. That's Mary asks, and it's a good question. I wonder if any of the tunnels were uncovered by the old train station, right? Because they rebuilt, they tore all that down, and they're redoing the double track project. It is. You can't even drive down 11th Street because they closed it. When I was a kid and we first moved to Michigan City, I was really young. We come up next to the South Shore train, and obviously it runs right down the middle of the street. If you haven't been to Michigan City, there should be some footage online of the way that it was. The South Shore goes right down the middle of the road, and you're like driving, you're like, oh, especially the first couple of times, as I got older, it wasn't that big of a deal. But anyway, there are a lot of things about ISP that regular people who haven't worked there or been incarcerated there. Luckily, I'm the former, and I just worked there. A lot of things that people don't know. It has its own power plant. It has, like I said, the towers. It's been around since, it says in 1858 it was looking and bought it, but it doesn't actually say here where it was built. But the 1800s, it's been around for a very long time. Obviously, asbestos, all sorts of crazy stuff. So moving back to Michigan City a number of years ago, we heard about the double track project. We heard about they're closing the Indiana State Prison, moving everybody to Westville. And I just want to say, I don't think that anyone else can come close to having the level of experience of dealing with Department of Corrections or Indiana State Prison. So let's talk about mayor, right? I'm not going to get into personality or whether I agree or disagree with anybody, but I have gone to the forums, right? And I've talked to the various candidates, and I've paid attention to what they've said. Unfortunately, I have not been able to learn much or hear from the gentleman running, Mike Walker. He's running as a libertarian. I haven't met him. I haven't seen him at any of the functions, any of the debates, any of that. Whether he actually went to any, I haven't seen. I know he wasn't at the League of Women Voters Forum. He wasn't at various other candidate forums, so I don't know much about him. We'll kind of explore that. Dwayne Perry is the current Michigan City mayor, and Angie Nelson, I'm not entirely 100% sure how to say her name. I think it's Deutsch. Angie Nelson Deutsch is running for mayor. She's Democrat. So you guys can go and read all of what they said, but I'm just going to say this. It seems as if Angie has written a lot of grants, and I assume successful, because every time she gets asked a question about anything involving money, she's like, I wrote a grant for that. That's great. And I'm all for grants if the strings that are attached to them are not too bad. We've seen, if anyone was like paying attention to the whole health department thing and the tons of money that's being handed out to the county health departments, as long as you sign this thing saying that you'll do what they want. I want to say like SB4 or something. Anyway, that got shuffled through here, unfortunately, due to the unsavory individuals who currently serve on the commissioners. But that aside, that's what these grants represent, right? They represent so-called free money, but what are the strings that are attached? No one seems to want to talk about that. And like I said, if there are none, or if they are easily digestible or easily no concerns, then yeah, absolutely. Free money, yay. It's not free, obviously. It comes from somewhere, but the problem is, what happens when those grants dry up? What happens when there are no more grants from this particular thing? If you start relying on that money, right? It's like getting a bonus at work, right? You get a bonus for the first 2 Christmases that you work at a place, Christmas bonus. Hey, I got some money. The next year is the same thing. And then the third year, you're counting on that to buy Christmas presents. And the company's like, oh, sorry, we had, some issues due to pandemic or production or, maybe the union was striking. So we're not able to give out the bonuses this year. And you counted on that. Well, that creates a little bit of a problem. Now, moving on. Now, like I said, Angie, she's served on all kinds of stuff. I don't know. She's on the council and did all kinds of stuff before that. I don't know. Read about her by all means, but everything seems to come back to grants. Whereas, so Dwayne Perry, he's the current mayor, and he didn't fill out the Vote 411, which shame, Dwayne, shame, man. You really need to do that. I personally, I like Vote 411, even though I've had a tumultuous relationship with them and members. Overall, I think it's never a bad thing to give people more information about who you are and who they're voting for. Let's look at Mike Walker, because like I said, I haven't been able to learn much about him. So let's see what we got here. He is an executive chef director. Oh, wait, if I move this. Okay, so I'm going to have to read it from here. Let's see here. Okay, so he has a Facebook page. So what do you consider your major qualifications? He says, I've directed and managed many people in my field with direct guidance in corporate development. I have a degree in hospitality and business management. I'm a great proven leader with great communication and diversity skills, working with people of all backgrounds in public relations, staying progressive and firm with vision and integrity. Okay. What are your top 3 priorities that can be addressed from your office? Okay. All right. So the very first thing, diversity and inclusion within our communities, ARE. It should be our, O-U-R. Yeah, I'm going to pick it apart. You're running for mayor, dude. Like, come on. Within our communities, providing for our city with more economic value, family-based structures, and educational resources for our youth and adults. Okay, so I don't necessarily disagree with more economic value, family-based structures, and educational resources for youth and adults. But it does bother me when diversity and inclusion are the very first things that you prioritize. Number 2, building bridges in our communities and being the voice for the people not being heard. All for that. Working day and night addressing matters of the homeless in our community. It is a concern. Drug awareness that's claiming the lives of our youth, violence in our community, and issues within our community with low-income families needing assistance with housing or financial resources and recreations for our families. Okay. 3, restructuring our landscape, streets, sanitation, and water, condemned buildings, and adding more family recreations to our city. Okay. So same thing, recreate. Okay. What do you hope to accomplish? If I become the mayor of Michigan City, it's not what I hope to accomplish for myself, but what I can accomplish for the people. Keeping a open door policy for everyone that loves this city as I do. Providing a better quality of life for families and our youth for generations to come by adding more value to our city, making Michigan City a destination for equality and diversity, a place to raise a family, and a place to call it home. Our city in the next few years will be growing more economically, bringing more value to our city every year. But we must not forget what makes our city amazing and unique, and that's the people who live in it. Okay. That last part I definitely agree with. Liz has said publicly, we should welcome the investment that comes. We should welcome additional resources being brought into the city, but we don't want to do that on the backs of those who live here and have lived here. So they asked, what differentiates you from other candidates? He says, what differentiates me? I've always believed in putting others' needs before my, listen, okay, I could pick this apart grammatically, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to move on and try to make it through it. It's killing me. I have a problem. Okay, let's start over. What differentiates me? I've always believed in putting others' needs before my own by helping those who can't help themselves. I will always work for the people in my community, not for myself. I'm running this election because I care and love the people of Michigan City. I want to better my community by making a positive impact, giving an open ear to anyone that want to be heard. I'm running this election for the people, not for me. Okay. So one thing that I do find interesting that I think you should know about, because I'm gonna be honest, hearing Angie speak publicly, Mike Walker doesn't really sound that much different, honestly. At least not different enough for me to go, yeah, maybe we should, choose a third party. I will say this, Angie is very focused on the equity. And yeah, here it is right here. So if you look, what do you hope to accomplish while in office, right? She says, I hope to deliver on the equitable playbook to increase the quality of life. To increase the quality of life all residents. I want to create a customer service organization focused on using technology and human capital to meet the needs of the community regardless of department. Transparency and community engagement are both priorities to build trust. Increased housing stock and initiatives for existing homeowners to maintain their properties. I want to leverage opportunities like Ready 2.0 for a new wellness campus that will include a community center, outdoor-indoor trails through possible partnerships with the hospital and other nonprofit agencies. I want to create and implement a capital plan to include a multi-year sidewalk and road replacement schedule. So once again, we're getting the equity and inclusion thing. I don't know if anybody is paying attention, but a lot of these so-called social programs are being introduced in order to take freedoms away from us. They're to control our behavior. They're to control the money. And obviously, look at any of the blue strongholds across the nation, California, Chicago, New York. All of these things came about because of the yelling from the rooftops, diversity and inclusion, diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI. If anyone isn't paying attention, DEI has destroyed countless communities across this country. The concept, let me be very clear, the concept of it is exceptional. The thought process behind it at its surface level, it's like communism. Communism has never been actually tried. All the examples across history where people have died by the hundreds of thousands or millions, hundreds of millions, those were fake communism. Okay. Yeah. So we are not going to legislate our way away from, for lack of a better term, unfair experiences for people, right? If you think that we can legislate our way out of racism or legislate our way out of people growing up poor and struggling to get a good job, that's not going to happen. What we have to do is we have to focus on our communities, but DEI is not the way to do that. But you vote your heart. Just out of curiosity, is anyone else experiencing any issues with the video? My camera seems to, not the camera's staying on. I'm watching my Rumble feed and it looks like that's doing okay, but the actual StreamYard seems to be a little stuttery, or it'll load every now and then. So if you're having any issues, drop something in the comments and let me know. Otherwise, now, like I said, I've still got a few little changes to make. but overall, it's not bad. I got this backdrop for behind me. I was going to have it like directly behind me, but I got to clean off my bookshelf. I just wanted to make sure and get this up and make sure everything was working properly before I got everything exactly how I want it. And it's been forever since I've done a video. Get out there and vote. Seriously, if you live in Michigan City or anywhere that's having a municipal election this year, get out there and vote. I cannot stress this enough. Regardless of how you feel about elections, if you think they're unfair, then sheer overwhelming numbers are the way to a solution. If you believe that your vote doesn't matter, then sheer overwhelming numbers are what's needed. Seriously, get out there and vote. Vote for whomever you believe in. If you don't know someone, if you don't want to vote for someone you've never heard of or that you don't know anything about and you haven't had time to research them, you don't have to vote for that position. Vote for someone else. Vote for someone you believe in. You can go in there and only vote for a single person. I actually know a couple of people that have done this. Called me, hey, I just got done. I voted for your wife and only your wife. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. For everyone that has already voted and has chosen to vote for Liz, thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really does mean a lot to us. So what happens, right? Well, we're probably going to be looking into doing more politically in the future, but possibly in a different fashion than in the past. I'll keep you guys updated. I am going to say I am planning on starting the show, although it may not be every night initially. There's a lot of stuff that I want to cover with you guys. A lot of stuff that's going on that I think isn't getting the attention that it should in the mainstream news channels, etc. So let's see what happens. So I'm going to move on from the election. I think you guys have a pretty good idea of what's going on there. There are, like I said, there's some stuff that I want to cover with you. But first, I'm going to kind of bring you up to speed on the whole Great Reawakening tour. So we went down. It was in, I think, Nashville. I want to say Nashville. Whether that's right or wrong, I'm not sure. But it was about halfway between here and Louisiana because my aunt drove up to meet us to spend the day with us. Donovan and I went down there, and it was a really good time. We really enjoyed it. But when we get to the hotel, and we're kind of getting everything together, and we got up the next morning. We go to the location that they told us where this big event was going to happen. And we drive over there and we notice that there are police cars, which you would expect, right? It's a large gathering, but apparently they are having people towed from various locations because people started parking in private driveways. The location where it was a church. I forget the name of it, but it was Pastor Greg Locke, his church. I will say this. I haven't watched any of Pastor Locke, any of his videos or stuff. I don't know much about him. I just wanted to go and meet General Flynn and the other people. I had let's see, I'm trying to think. Prior to going down there, I had Clay Clark on the show, and we talked with him. And then we went down there, and we were told, so I pull up, and I'm checking with the parking, right, which the parking was at the church, only there wasn't enough room, like not even close. Apparently, they sold 2,000 to 3,000 tickets for this thing. And there was only enough parking for maybe 200-300 people, cars. I get there and we pull up to where the parking is, and I'm like, hey, I have a media pass. Where can I park? And the guy's like, I don't know. I was like, what do you mean you don't know? I got like equipment and stuff.
He's like, well, there's no designated media parking. I'm like, okay. So where am I supposed to park? He's like, well, we're telling people to go to Walmart and get an Uber. Just put Walmart in GPS and head over there, park there, leave your vehicle there, and pay to have an Uber and bring you back. Okay, all right. I decided instead of doing that, I'd just park back at the hotel and get an Uber, which we did. There was a probably about a mile and a half up the road. There was a guy who was renting out, parking, which, hey man, I don't blame him. He had a big old field, charged people, $20-$30 for parking or whatever it was. I don't remember. It was more than I wanted to spend, but I'm like, yeah, we're already here. We did that either the first day or the second day. The next day we took an Uber because it was just easier. And I spent way more money than I wanted to on the Ubers. We get there, we go in, and I'm like, okay, so, I'm here. Where do I go? They say it's in this little building over here. There was a big tent. I forgot to upload the pictures. I don't have a lot. I did take some pictures. My plan was to set up in the main tent and live stream the event so that, you guys could see what's happening and enjoy it or not. And there was nowhere. The media center, the media location wasn't actually in the main area. It was in a small side building, right? I think it was the daycare. But we go in there. Okay, fine. I'm carrying, all my stuff, my laptop, my bag, my camera, And we walk in, and there's this, massive huddle of people. There's all these other channels that were set up with their cool backdrops and nice lighting and awesome, high dollar equipment, man. And I asked a couple, I'm like, man, how, that's a nice soundboard. How much was that? It was all digital. And the guy's like, oh, this was, $700. I'm like, good Lord, man. Okay. But they found a spot for us. They did not have designated media spots, right? I guess they just handed the media passes out, and wherever you found a spot was where you could set up. By the time we got there, took the truck back, got an Uber back, and et cetera, there was nowhere for us to sit except for in the back of this, basically under the stairs. So there were some stairs that went up, and next to it was kind of like this, pretty much a storage closet. Like I said, I have a couple of pictures. I'll show you guys next video. I'll make sure I get them on the PC so I can share them. But I'm like, okay, that's fine. Not a big deal. I had this nice lighting setup that my mother-in-law got me. I had my laptop that was better than my desktop and portable and all of that. But then we didn't have a power cord next to us, so I had to get an extension cord, and there was no Wi-Fi, so I had to use my my phone for the internet. And it was just, by the time it was all said and done, it was time for lunch. We were starving. We're like, okay, Donovan and I went to get some food, and there was a food truck there. One food truck for thousands of people. So the line was very, very long, way longer than we wanted to wait. So we're like, okay, let me see if I can find some people to do some interviews, because the whole point of this, the whole reason I went was to hope to have an opportunity to talk to some of the people involved in this, right? General Flynn is, very well known, former national security advisor. Okay. I did not get the opportunity to interview anyone of note. There was a very nice lady who gave us an interview, but the microphone apparently wasn't working on the computer. The external mic wasn't working properly. It was technical issue after technical issue. My aunt had texted me, and she's like, hey, we're going to, I'll be up there at X time. So we're like, you know what? we'll come back tomorrow. Let's go meet my aunt. And we ended up going to the Parthenon in, we're Nashville, I think. But it's like a full-scale recreation of the iconic Greek building. It's awesome. I got a bunch of pictures of that I'll share with you. I really, really enjoyed that. The trip itself, I enjoyed. The tour thing, I was not pleased. Luckily, I'll say this, had I not been able to hook up with my aunt and spend some time with her and her spend some time with us, I would have been very, very, very unhappy. Luckily, it turned into a very positive experience for my son and I. We were able to spend some time with my aunt, my mother's sister, who I love dearly, and it was great. It was phenomenal. So we did that, and then came back. They had reached out to me to do a live stream of another of their events, and I allowed them to do that. But I don't know. They had one in Miami that was supposed to be huge, and I debated going down there, but I wasn't sure if I wanted to spend the money to go to Miami so that I could repeat the same experience. It could have been way better. Now, I will say this, and I want to make sure that this is clear. I don't know who was responsible for, that's another thing. So it turns out that the church where this was being held did not notify the police department, county sheriff, whomever was in charge of law enforcement there, that they were expecting thousands of people. So that morning of the event, the police were very, very angry that no one had told them anything. They were, like I said, showing up because people were parking like across the street in private driveways and on people's grass. And yeah, that's not good. So the police were towing one after the other. It was very, very, very bad. There were a lot of very upset people, extremely upset people, some people yelling and screaming. The one upside though, one of the Uber drivers was in a Tesla. So I did get to ride in a Tesla. It's actually the first Tesla that I've been in. I've seen them obviously all over. I'm not sure which one it was, but sleek looking sedan, 4-door. It was nice. The seats were very, very comfortable, a lot more comfortable than many, many so-called luxury vehicles that I've been in. I'll say that. Obviously it's got the big digital screen and all that stuff, but it was nice. The car was nice. He was extremely nice, but yeah, overall kind of a bust, at least for me. I did not. I did not enjoy it. I was in a. So the area where we were in this little bitty building, right, kind of under / behind the stairs, next to the stairs, and there were all these it was a storage area. There was a bunch of stuff behind us. We were right next to a double-doored area that was. Trying to think, I don't remember the name of the channel that had that area, but it was a really nice big area. They had basically like a huge desk with multiple people, and their area was air conditioned. The rest of it was not. It was warm. It was very, very warm. So it was an experience. It turned out to be positive because I got to spend time with family, but overall, 3 out of 10 would not recommend. Now, my aunt did get an opportunity because I got a pass for her as well. And so she was able to go in and see the main event for a little while. But it was very utilitarian. Not quite the big production that I expected. At least that's what I was going to say. I don't know who was responsible for organizing it. I assume that whomever the host is, so, Greg Locke's church was the host. I assume they were responsible for the parking and the transportation and the location for the podcasters / media. I don't know. I just know that I want to be very clear. There were a couple of ladies there who were extremely helpful and very, very nice. We were about to leave because we're trying to find a spot and there's no spot. And they're finally like, here, you can have this little area back by these stairs, this little bitty closet. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Except there were no seats. There was nothing to put the laptop on. There was no furniture to utilize. I'm like, you know what? I think we're just going to go. And there was a nice gentleman who came by and he was like, hey, do you need a chair? I'm like, I do. I actually need like 3. And he's like, great, I got you covered. Come with me. So there were some extremely nice people there. I want to make that abundantly clear. Extremely nice people. But whomever was responsible for setting up the parking and informing the local authorities and doing all of that really dropped the ball. Now, I don't know if the rest of the tour was like that. I don't know if this was an isolated incident. I have no idea, but you guys know me. I am blunt, I'm honest, and I'm not going to tell you it was amazing when it wasn't. It was wild. Somewhere on my laptop, I have the video. I'm going to try to run it through some audio processing and see if it was so hard to hear. The lady that was able to sit down with us and talk. It was really hard to hear her. I'm going to try to run it through a couple of programs. I'm not really that great at that, but I'll see what I can figure out for you guys if you're interested. She definitely had some interesting things to say. That's about it. I came back and as you guys have seen, I didn't even get on for a while because I'm like, man, I was so disappointed. I was mostly disappointed that I wasn't able to live stream because that was my plan. I thought that I would be like in an actual media area, able to set up the camera because I had a special tripod for the camera and a light and I got all kinds of stuff to make sure that it was quality. Oh. Anyway, I was going to use my phone for the camera, which has this crazy like 100 megapixel camera in it. It's nuts. I was using that and the camera worked, but then there was nowhere it was crazy. Excuse me. There are some interesting events happening locally. We've got the election coming up on Tuesday, obviously, but we also have some big changes coming to Michigan City. NIPSCO says they're going to close the coal power plant, which it's actually just the cooling facility right there, that big tower. Before they close, you guys, seriously, if you live in the area or you want to see something cool, see if you can get a tour of the inside of that cooling tower. It rains. I've been inside it when I was a kid here in school. We went and it's raining all the time in there. It's just water vapor that comes out. When I first moved here, I'm like, oh, there's a nuclear power plant. No, it's just water vapor, but it's raining in there like all the time. It's like a constant rainstorm, which you can't tell me we can't create weather when you have a perpetual rainstorm inside a building. Like, come on. Anyway, better grab your tinfoil hat. Seriously though, if you get a chance, really look into going in there. It's wild. Now they're gonna close that down. Now here's the interesting part, right? As far as the mayor's race goes. Now Angie is absolutely certain that Michigan City is going to get that land. That NIPSCO is just going to hand it over to them. The land is actually, between Washington Park and the Dunes National Lake Shore. So it is very, very valuable lakefront property. I don't think NIPSCO is going to just give that to Michigan City. So let's see here. Yeah. And that's another thing. Mary brings up a really good point. It's that tower is so uniquely Michigan City. That's how you know you're in Michigan City. That's the first thing you see, right? When you're coming in from, she corrects herself. It's okay. It's different when you're, posting an internet comment versus replying to or putting your campaign information in for why someone should elect you. When you can't spell and you have terrible grammar and, Facebook comments are perfectly fine to not be 100% perfect. But anyway, it's an icon, and it's so uniquely Michigan City that, man, if they win and if they do knock it down, I'm gonna be kind of sad because it so incredibly represents MC. That said, Dwayne Perry says that NIPSCO has no intention of giving that land to Michigan City. I would estimate, now I'm no real estate guru, but I'm factoring the value of that land in the multi-millions of dollars. It's a huge area right along the lakefront, right next to National Lakeshore, right next to Washington Park, right next to the marina. I mean, that's some very, very valuable land. I would be very, very surprised if NIPSCO just gives it to us. But I don't know. I'm not the mayor. Now, the current mayor says NIPSCO's not going to give it to us either. But, what does he know? He's just the mayor. ISP is the same thing, right? So allegedly, they are closing Indiana State Prison down and they're moving everybody to Westville. They've announced this. So, and that's another thing. The NIPSCO plant isn't just the plant. There are these coal ash ponds, like Liz mentioned. That's going to be a ton of money to clean that up. Speaking of cleaning it up, haven't we been fighting with NIPSCO for decades regarding these coal ash ponds and where they're dumping this stuff? That seems to be the theme of almost every Democrat running for office lately, at least going back many, many years, is we have to make NIPSCO do something, right? So I talked about it when I ran for state rep. It's a big deal. So anyone who thinks that NIPSCO is just going to responsibly clean this up and then hand the land over doesn't know anything about companies that want to make money, like energy companies, power companies. So Liz says they want to put an energy redistribution center there. So that's the plan, they say, is they're building these solar panels and clean energy stuff, and they're going to utilize the current land to make a redistribution center, transformers, stuff like that, for it to be, who knows, parceled out, whatever they're going to do. I don't think they're going to just clean it up and hand it over. Same thing with ISP. We have walls that were built, buildings that were built in the 1800s. The walls have been updated, but I mean, those things go very deep into the ground. These are all things that people need to be aware of when just because the Indiana Department of Corrections is closing Indiana State Prison does not mean they're just going to give us the land, us being Michigan City. Someone mentioned they want the land to go to developers. I think it might have been Angie. I'm not 100% sure, but so what we're looking at is the area where ISP is, which, by the way, there are deceased inmates. There's a graveyard on the grounds. where indigent, broke people who die in prison get buried if they don't have any family that claim the body. Some of these graves have been there for a very, very, very long time. I'm not sure when they started burying the first people there, but they've been there for a long, long time. And someone's going to have to do something with it. Whomever ultimately has responsibility for the land, you can't just, you can't just dig that up. As a matter of fact, there's a very good likelihood that it's going to be designated a historical site, location, whatever. And then you have all these rules and regulations that go along with that. There's going to be a lot to unpack there, and it's going to take someone who's knowledgeable about Department of Corrections and how that stuff works. It's going to be an interesting time in Michigan City with the double track project. They completely changed downtown at 11th Street. They're putting this massive development in, apartments and parking and shopping and all of that. That's going to be down by where the old police station was, Sola, S-O-L-A, South Lake or something. I don't know what it's supposed to represent, but it's this, if you've seen pictures of it, this very weird, bougie looking place that maybe it's going to be nice, but it doesn't fit with the aesthetic of Michigan City. So I'm a little about that. We'll see. It might be fantastic. Who knows? I know that, in my opinion, the double track project was probably about a decade or more too late. We shaved a little time off the commute. It lets you, go back and forth, basically west and east at the same time. But if people haven't been paying attention, South Shore runs freight on that line, even though they're not supposed to. And I think we're going to see a lot more freight being hauled through there. I think that's what the point of it was, because the ridership of the South Shore has dropped precipitously post COVID. I want to say it's down 90% ridership. Now, maybe once the double track is complete and the station is built and all of that stuff gets done, and especially with all the people moving here from Chicago and other areas in Illinois, maybe we'll have lots more commute back and forth. It's possible. Who knows? But that's where we're at. You guys let me know what you think about the new camera. I think StreamYard might be acting up. If anybody's familiar with OBS, it's a software that you can also, I guess, stream with or utilize for the streaming portion, and then use StreamYard to send it. I don't know if anybody's familiar with OBS and how to set it up for this. Send me a message. I'm trying to get the best quality and best overall aesthetic that I can get. I think we have. I think we're close. I think this camera is better image quality, but I'm having some stutters with StreamYard. Hopefully you guys aren't picking that up. I don't know. No one has said anything. So, but every once in a while, the screen will go black and it'll have a little loading, but then it'll pop back up. So, Rumble looks like, I don't know, less high quality. I'm looking at it right now on a tertiary screen, and it doesn't seem as high quality as the actual StreamYard. So I don't know. I'm still learning how this goes and what I can do and how I can adjust it. Because I ended up, so the initial plan was just to improve the camera, right? So I plug it in, and then the camera is like flickering even in the regular camera app. I tried to go into the actual program for it, and it's still doing it. It's like this weird, about halfway up the screen, these vertical lines and like discoloration that was constantly shifting. I'm like, what the heck? So I tried uninstalling and reinstalling and unplugging and plugging and doing this and doing that. And I had all kinds of issues. So I just ended up disconnecting my desktop completely and using my laptop to do everything with. Luckily, it seems to be mostly stable. Like I said, there's a little bit of stuff I think that still needs to be done, but we're close. We're close to significantly better than it was. It's a lot more zoomed in, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. You guys don't need to be looking around my room anyway. I'm really glad to be back, guys. I missed you guys. It was a crazy event that I went to, and is anyone going to, there's going to be a couple of different celebrations or events on election night. There's going to be one in LaPorte at the Silver Palace for the Republicans. Not sure where the Democrats are. There's also going to be one that everybody's invited to at the mayor's. That is at the FOP on 20 here in Michigan City. He said everyone's invited. So if you guys are in the area on election night, come hang out, man. I think I don't feel like driving to LaPorte. And there are some things going on in the party that I'm not going to talk about right now, but I'll probably get to later. I think we'll just stay here in Michigan City and hang out with the mayor and ring in election night. What do you guys think? You think this is going to be a big sweeping change for Michigan City, or do you expect we're going to see just another election like we've always had, where pretty much Democrats sweep? And it's Michigan City. It's very left leaning traditionally, but I will say we've heard from a lot of people who have voted traditionally straight Democrat in the past, and we're seeing both D and R signs in their yard. That's a big deal for this area. For many, many, many years, if you didn't put a Democrat sign in your yard, then you would feel the wrath. That has slowly begun to shift. There were places that told me, "Hey, I would like to put your sign up" when I ran, and they were like, "I would like to put your sign up, but I can't. I can only put Democrat signs up." There are reasons for that. I will say this: I didn't get a 4K camera because my bulb is striking enough in 1080p. It does not need to be in 4K for you guys. I want to preserve some of your eye muscles. I don't want to burn them out. I don't care. Whatever. My mom actually lost her hair. It's not all of it. She didn't go completely bald, but she had some baldness, and I blame her. It's her fault. My dad, until he got bone cancer, he had a full head of thick black hair. He was like in his 60s. No hair loss, no nothing. And I got the other one. It's all good though. Look, I'm going to try to, I don't know that I'm going to jump back into every single night, and there are still some things that I want to adjust behind me. I want to clean this bookshelf up and have more iconic things up there kind of that represent me rather than just a place to put stuff. But I needed to get this moved and set up, and it was getting close to 7. And I'm like, well, I don't have time for that yet today, but we will be doing it soon. As always, and hold on, someone says another prison for Matt to buy. I'm not sure what the reference is there. By all means, let me know. You're probably right. I don't know. Who's Matt, and did they buy a prison previously? That's new. Unless you're talking about the privatization of the prisons, which interesting note, the reason why Indiana State Prison is not privatized, and the real only reason why it's not privatized, is because of what's called X row, death row. The fact that executions take place there, you can't farm that out, at least under current Indiana law. Now they may try to change that, but as it stands right now, you cannot privatize death row. Other locations up and down the state, Newcastle, there are lots of them, but those have been privatized, which means a private security company is in charge of them, not the Indiana Department of Corrections. They are paid X on dollars to keep the inmates alive and keep them incarcerated. There are a few companies. I know Geo is one of them. I don't know all of them. I'm very familiar with ISP, obviously, because I worked there for years, but I don't know about all of the other ones up and down the state. I really hope that privatization does not creep into Westville. We already have the medical and the food services that have been privatized, but the prison itself is luckily still under the purview of the DOC. Mary says, my youngest son is joining the Marines after he turns 18 in January. He won't leave for boot camp until February. That's awesome. That is awesome. My oldest son said he refuses to join the military while Biden is in office, and I get it. I understand. Of course, Mary says she's put this up for you guys. Proud of him, but I also worry. Absolutely. And it's really hard for families, especially parents of individuals that join our armed forces. I imagine there's a ton of worry that goes along with that. I hear an animal trying to get in. It's probably a cat. My cats get very, very upset when they are excluded. When I close the door, yeah, I hear you. No, you stay out there. I don't know what you guys heard, but they get very, very angry if they are excluded. If I close the door, they will scratch at it until I open it. And that also when I go to use the restroom, I will, close the door, and especially my black cat, Grizzly, he will scratch and thump and jump at the door until I open it and let him in. Oddly enough, he is not an extremely affectionate cat, except when he's away from other people. Like my wife, she'll be in her office. If Grizzly goes in there, he will be very loving as long as no one else is looking. Same thing with the bathroom. When he barges his way into the bathroom, he wants to be pet. He wants cuddles, whatever. But if we're in the living room, no part of that. He'll actually pull away if you go to pet him. It's a weird cat. I blame Orion for this one. He brought him home, and he's a very, very odd cat. Very odd indeed. I love him, but he's weird. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna wrap it up, but it was good. Good seeing you guys and talking to you, and I look forward to joining you again very soon. I'm not certain yet exactly what day we're going to do this again. I want to get the rest of this situated. I think there's a way that I can make this not move as well. As you can see, boop, yeah. Make it a little more secure, etc. So with all of that, I think the next video that I do, I'm going to cover what I think are some of the most interesting stories that I've seen lately. Kind of go back to doing that. There's a lot. I hope you have a wonderful evening, and thank you for joining me. I appreciate it. God bless you. God bless Indiana, and God bless the United States of America. Where's my mouse? There it is. Good night, everybody.
If you'd like to support the show, please visit our Patreon at patreon.com/Dion's Daily Dose. This has been Dion's Daily Dose, hosted by Dion Bergeron, executive producers Sean Holgram and Michael Beebe. Copyright 2023. Dion's Daily Dose. All rights reserved.